There's some baseball people coming, I know. For the, so I tried to put them at the beginning. Like, we'll go to the library first, and this. Then there's people here for this, people here for this.
So just leave them as they are,
Yeah.
though. Because most of this will go
I think that's wise.
fairly fast.
We'll see, you never know. But I feel like even though it's long, like, I still feel like
Was there
there's really
four
no.
pages here?
Well, for you, like the normal version, like is 1.5, but I spread it out because I feel like Kathy has it really condensed. And I'm like, okay, well, I gotta have some room. I might be a larger writer than.
Did you see that Moski's is battling their barbecue sauce now?
Nice. It's 6 o'clock, Mayor.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our Monday, December 11th, 2023 Cascade City Council meeting. We'll have a call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Kelchin.
Here.
Roush.
Here.
Hush.
Here.
Delaney.
Here.
Oliphant.
Here.
All here. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Kelchins.
Second.
Second by Oliphant. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote. At this point, we have kind of a special occasion. This would be Andy Kelchin's last meeting, and we'd like to thank you for all your dedication to the citizens of Cascade and your years of council attendance. And we have a little presentation for you.
You can come to the front. Oh, we're down there.
Yep. Gotta get your picture taken.
We'll do one with the mayor and then one with your family. Him with the family. Why not? You're good. You guys all want to come up? Oh, surprise.
He looked at me like, why is
I know. She was like, he saw you. You're supposed to, we should have distracted.
Like, it probably hurt her first.
You go first. We'll look at Daniel first. Shelby, look here. Come on, Chase, you're doing perfect. Ready? Already here. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you for all you guys
We're done.
At this point, we'll have public comment. You have a limit of 3 minutes per person on agenda items and local government issues.
You can come up to the podium.
There's been a proposal made to close the EMS center for public usage. I represent the Alcoholics Anonymous group that's been meeting there for the last years. We relocated there from the senior center downtown because of relocation and things going on. One of the reasons that we chose that out of the 2 locations we had available was because the median age of our members is 65, and accessibility to not only the facility but to the restrooms, the different aspects that we use are just that was an ideal location. We weren't required to, because we're a nonprofit, to pay any rent or anything, but because it's part of our belief and system, we do pay because we're responsible for that. There's a question of security being compromised. There truly isn't. There's a locked door between the meeting room and the ambulance. Also, the office is locked. We have no keys, no access to that. The only one with the key to the meeting room is me. Nobody has access. So, in truth, there's no added risk for the group to meet there, or to continue to meet there. It does serve a public good. There's members here in town
Mhm.
that prefer not to.
Mhm.
But it's needed.
Is there something in state law that dictates that not being used as a public space?
Well, so for those that are on the EMS committee, Megan, Mike, and the mayor, we were at our meeting back in October, and it's not that we are saying that it's unsafe or you're doing anything wrong. It was based on an inspection that they had. I'm not sure if it was through the state because they have drugs there, or if it was from our insurance company, but they had said that in that report, it was recommended. So in my recommendation to the council, which we'll talk about when we get to that agenda item, I had said that we would give you until April 1st, which is what you and I talked about when you were here, to give you some time to look for another place. And then I also had said to you that, this is for the council, you know obviously what I said, that once the library is open, that would be an option for you to be able to utilize the community center room at the library. But it's not a reflection on, and when I first came here, that was when we decided not to let anybody else rent it. And we allowed AA to keep coming. And then the one thing that I said also is regarding elections. And so it's not by any means a reflection on anyone's opinion about what someone thinks you're going to do. We just have to be able to look at what is being recommended from a safety perspective or compliance perspective when people make those recommendations. And so that's why it's on the council agenda. Whether one of the churches would allow you to go there for a year or so, I don't know if they would allow you to utilize one of their spaces, would be an option. So,
If I may, you stated, and I read the resolution, that it was recommended, it wasn't required by the insurance. And would there be any possibility that the council would consider allowing the group to meet there until the library became available?
yeah, that'll have to be up to they can talk about that when they get to that agenda
That's a
item.
year that people 65 and older
Mhm.
aren't getting their,
Yep.
Yeah, we'll look at it. If you want
Thank
to
you.
stick around, otherwise we'll let you know. I have your number.
thank you.
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, appreciate you coming.
I think somebody else was coming.
Al Reese. I'd like to speak on the sidewalk ordinance. I live on 314 Third Avenue Southwest along 136. I don't have any problems with shoveling my sidewalk. I always get it cleaned the day of. I just think it's unfair to a lot of people maybe to make an ordinance to charge them to clean their sidewalks if it's, and police it like we normally. I don't know if there's been a problem or not, but I just think it's unfair to do that when over half the residents in the city don't even need a sidewalk. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it myself, but there probably are a lot of people that are gonna maybe have trouble cleaning their sidewalks, and I don't think it's fair to find them a big amount of money to have somebody clean their sidewalks.
Just so you know, right now, the code is the same. We're really just talking about enforcing it differently.
Yeah, but you're
because-
also talking about hiring somebody, and I heard like $4 a foot on the last council meeting. And for me, I got probably 200 foot of sidewalk. That's $800
Yeah.
to clean my sidewalk?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I said that they would use a number.
I know.
So if the council goes ahead with it, that they want to enforce it, and really it's a liability perspective.
I understand that. And,
So the problem is that we get calls,
yep,
so we have a choice to say, we're only gonna come pick on you
yep,
if someone complains, and we have someone right across the street from here.
Yep.
So then you also, by us not enforcing it, what happens is that the burden falls on the neighbors. So that they end up just doing it for you when you're like, and it's one thing to just have like, I live next to an elderly person and people help each other all the time, I'm certain of that.
What are we gonna do about the situation where it snows, I clean my sidewalk, and the state highway trucks come by at 40 mile an hour and blow the snow up all the way against my house and cover the sidewalk again?
Just like now, I'm sure you go back out there eventually and redo it.
Depends on the situation. I might think it's good enough, but somebody else might not think it is. Is it fair? No.
It's really also about the liability. So when you say we're gonna have walkable, and that's what I said to the council last time. Because if someone falls on a sidewalk and you have an ordinance
Yep.
that says you have to do it, and then someone sues us, and we haven't been sued here since I've been here, but I've had lots of city lawsuits.
Yep.
So they'll look to you, and if we ever got brought in where we don't wanna pay someone's broken whatever body part that they broke when they fell, and they say, oh, you have an ordinance, do you enforce it? No, sorry, we just thought it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
Then you can't have the ordinance, you might as well say you don't have to shovel then. So
Yeah.
that's where you have to balance the
Yeah.
feeling like we're being unfair and having a walkable community that is safe for people who walk around in the winter.
Yeah.
And
So
I-
we should
and-
have a walkable community, and everybody should have to have a sidewalk. And everybody should have to take care of it. If you're gonna do it to some, you should do it to all. That's all I'm saying.
Understood.
Thank you. Number 6, consent agenda, minutes, city council, 11/27/23, December 11th, 2023 claims, and November 2023 financial reports, liquor license, annual renewal for McDermott Oil Company and Dollar General. Is there any questions on the consent agenda?
I just have a note here for the payables. ECIA, I see what the revenue that what we propose to pay them and whatever. Now that we're 6 months into our
Inspections.
inspections, et cetera, it'd be nice to know before we get into budget whether we're how we're doing on that, so we can
Yeah.
either
I can-
change.
I can email that out to the council.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Anything else? If nothing, I need a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7.
I do have a quick question on our, not our claims report, our treasurer's report. So we have a lot of money in money markets.
What page are you on?
Page 24.
Go ahead.
Have we looked at putting anything into CDs? I know rates are still fairly high for a lot of CDs.
So we pretty much get a CD type rate from our money market with them. I can double check, but,
Especially some of these, like, I know we're not
yeah.
gonna touch anytime soon.
I think because of the amount of money that we have in there, we're pretty high up to not having it tied up, but I'll
Okay.
double check.
Okay, thank you.
Number 7, consideration of resolution number 93-23, approval to hire Garland Construction Incorporated for the library community center construction. The library is $2,865,000, and also Pierce Street improvements in the amount of $58,000.
So as everybody knows, we've gone through probably an 18-month active process, starting with receiving the $1 million from the county. First, obviously, hiring FEH to go through the planning process. And we are now to the point where after rebidding it, that the bids were approximately $1.1 million less, which was close to the number that we were looking for. I had the fundraising committee meet last week. We are sending out a thank you letter tomorrow, making sure, of course, that we don't send it out until what happens tonight. to look for additional funds for either people that haven't or haven't provided a donation yet if they're interested, or some people who've made like an annual one if somebody wants to donate another year out, that we would receive those, and just making sure they know that there is still we're asking for an additional $200,000. We did meet with Garling, and the recommendation would be to go with the contract as it is stated, and then there were a few minor things that then we can work on with them to try and save a little bit of money. And those are on page 42, but we would do that after the fact. And then, of course, we had talked about pulling out Pierce Street and charging that to some either road use or general fund when we do the budget for next year. We wouldn't be paying for that right away. And then, once we get the fundraising done, we'll be, get it a little bit further and give the fundraising committee some time. We'll have to see where we land, but the council may have to look between that $800,000 and $1 million. I also met with the newest member of the county board, Wayne Kinnicker, that came here today and met with Monica and myself. Went over the project with him since when we had asked for the original $1 million. That he was not on the board. You'll recall it was Jay was on the board then. So he's aware that my second agenda item regarding this is that we ask them if they would be willing to partner with us at some either additional amount or the loan to save us money on interest. So I think we have other options. Obviously, couple reasons why we are looking for consideration tonight. One is to give enough lead time for the contractor to start getting things ordered so we don't have delays. In addition, we have the SIPCO loan that must be closed on by the end of the year. We obviously don't want to close on that loan unless you've made a commitment to going forward with the project.
So with the county, could we ask them for the additional 200,000?
I think out of respect for them, we're asking for up to 200. And that's,
I mean, I would like to go to them for the 200. And
Yeah, it's gonna say
because
that.
the worst they could say is no and give us something less. I don't want to go in at like 50 and then they give us 50, but they would have given us 150.
it says in the resolution, 200,000.
Perfect, thank you.
It just, when I spoke to Wayne, I said, you have to decide what you can afford. But we're telling you there's a gap of 200, and the more that you can give us towards that number, the best chance we have of being able to close the gap. And I just said there still are some things that, like the furniture and things that we've talked about before, that we don't have a definitive number yet on. And I said, and the more that the council stuff can go to some of those last items at the end, the better. So he knows that's the gap. He knows that that's what we're looking for. And I just said, we understand you might be comfortable with something less than that, but this is the gap, and that's what we intend to put in the resolution.
The initial $1 million that they granted, that was part of some,
Relief funds.
relief
ARPA.
fund. I mean, is there more money there? Is that what we're trying to tap into, or is it just their general fund, or what are we?
So we technically do not have ARPA money. They had money, they got $20 million from ARPA. And you remember, they were giving it away to nonprofit groups. Our project, what they did was gave themselves some of the ARPA money, and then they gave us county money, so that we were not tagged with any federal requirements. So technically, we are not getting ARPA money. There's obviously been some attention to Farley, because if you'll recall, they asked for $2.6 million, and if you saw an article in the Telegraph Herald last week, their request is down to $400,000. But that money will go back into the county and most likely get spent by the county. Wayne did talk today about there being some number around $700,000 that's still in the county's funds. So if 400 of it went to Farley, there is a number that could come from.
Okay.
And so they have to decide what pot it would come from. But our money already, the $1 million is not federal money. And they basically chose to do it that way so that even though we were one of the larger projects, that we didn't have to have so many requirements. It's called being a sub-recipient. So if the county just has to deal with themselves as the recipient of the federal dollars, it's a lot easier for them than to give the money to what they call a sub-recipient, and then we have to go through a lot of paperwork to be able to receive it from them as the recipient.
Okay.
So
So apparently there's some monies that are earmarked for these.
there's money they could choose to give us, is how I would probably say it.
Which I know Lisa will watch it quite a bit, but we really need to watch change orders. We know how many we had on that pool. And this has, in my opinion, a lot more possibility for change orders than we thought after this last bidding, that we were conservative on everything. That was the word that was used a lot. And we were, in my opinion, far from conservative. I mean, kind of got told after that last meeting that we'd probably come in under where we needed to be, and we're over.
Still above.
When we did the wastewater treatment plant, we had a limit as to what a change order could be.
Without approval?
Yeah, without approval to begin with. And then I think after the swimming pool, I think we realized that change orders should be reviewed by the council shortly after. End up with quite a list, 6 months after the project was done with,
Well, but I
in a
think
timely manner.
we're gonna, yeah, it might,
You can have them every month. It's just that
Yeah,
there's
it's-
gonna be things that like, I'll have to decide, and we can talk about that when construction
Yeah,
time
I
comes
think
before
the
April.
wastewater treatment plant, I think at that point, Phil and the city administrator were granted a certain number
Yep.
for a valve change or, something that came up.
Yep.
But on other items, I said, hey, swimming pool, I know that there was quite it was 5-6 months afterwards that
Yeah, we won't
we
do-
received notice that these things were done, and whatever, so I think.
Well,
we need to-
and I
better
think we
grasp
could
it.
even loop Steve in and let Steve have some, if it, I know you and Phil can make some decisions, but if it comes to be questionable, throw Steve in there, that he's kind of responsible.
I agree.
I don't have a problem saying they can all go through
Yep.
both of us. It's not,
Because we don't
Something
want
to
to
hide.
necessarily call a special meeting just for that, because the amount of change orders on this could be
Considerable.
considerable.
we will respect we don't have to approve that tonight, but to your point, we will have here's what we're gonna spend amongst staff, and if it's higher, maybe we put a higher amount if the mayor's involved, and then anything over that, maybe we do have to call a couple early morning meetings, 24 hours notice.
Any other concerns? If none, I need a motion on Resolution 93-23.
I'll make a motion on resolution 93-23.
Motion by Oliphant,
I'll second.
second by Roush. Roll call.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Number 8, consideration of resolution number 98-23, approval to request additional assistance from the Dubuque County Board of Supervisors for construction of the Cascade Public Library.
Again, you can see in the resolution, but I think it is wise of us to do that, and I think it makes more sense for the council to go on record with that resolution, so that's why I prepared it for tonight.
If there's no questions, I need a motion on resolution number 98-23.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
Second.
second by Oliphant. Roll call.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Kelch?
Aye.
Are there more grants that we can keep applying for too?
Yep, there are, like Woodward Communications, we haven't done that one yet. I've talked to a couple business people who, have said, hey, I'm gonna be giving, I just haven't made my decision yet. And really, we tried to lay low until we knew what that number was. And so that's why we met with the fundraising committee this last week. I wanted to meet between when the bids were open and when we were coming before the council. And we're gonna meet this week again to kind of go over, all right, who's not on this list? And now that we have, because it was difficult when we had our original estimates and we were fundraising for those amounts and we had really reached that amount. And so when people are like, oh, how much more do you need? And we're like, no, maybe none. So now that we have, the council has approved it and we can say a strong 200,000, then we'll hit the ground running.
Thank you.
Need a motion?
I think we.
Or that one's
Yep,
done.
you're
That was just a question.
Number 9, consideration of resolution number 95-23 to approve a service agreement with the Cascade Future Fields and Recreation Incorporated to hire a consultant to plan a facility in the amount of $9,500.
So we took this first to the park board. I think there's a couple of you are here, right, from the group. And we had met earlier. They had intended to come before the council with this request after the library was finalized. So we kind of delayed that between September and December. So what we're looking at is whether or not the council is willing to go 50-50 on the cost of the consultant, which is, we have some agreements in there, which are also in your packet along with the resolution, but the half would be the $9,500 on page 53. There's consultants, Hall and Hall Engineers. It would be a master plan. When you looked at the contract, there were a couple other line items that we chose to say, let's take a pause on those. We may not necessarily need, when it's an outdoor facility, to have a video of like walking through the facility. That's pretty pricey. And then they had a website design thing, which maybe they tag it to the city's website under Park and Rec at some point and utilize our site instead of paying someone that money. So when we met with the park board, we thought it would be wise to focus just on that $18,000. The park board is requesting and recommending the council approve the $9,500. And the agreement would, with Hall and Hall, would be through the organization, the Cascade Future Fields and Recreation. And then our agreement with them, of course, you'll recall in the last year that we know that the state requires when we give funds to outside organizations that we create a social service funding agreement. And so I drafted one of those as well as as an exhibit to the resolution if the council goes ahead with that.
Yes, and I've talked to Lisa about this too, but this whole project, it's a large project. We had kind of told them to tap the brakes, hold it a little bit till this library got off, and it seems like 5 minutes ago, we just approved the library, and now
Literally.
we're looking at spending $4 million on something else, and Steve's whole campaign was focused on infrastructure, and he hasn't had a moment to breathe and focus on any infrastructure. I mean, I think we need to really focus on that in the future, because a project like this, they can fundraise. It'd be excellent if the whole thing's fundraised, but it's still gonna add an additional expense to the city in the future of, we're gonna have another
Maintenance.
employee for maintenance. And if Sean has a little bit of time, maybe help with a little bit of, I guess, organizing stuff like that, promotion. But I don't want that to all of a sudden be another expense to us. I mean, you had 2 city employees, you're all of a sudden looking at $200,000 of wages and benefits that the city's gotta come up with. Cause that's kind of, we knew this with the library too, that we're gonna have hidden costs after the fact of keeping more publications on the shelf, additional staffing, and those numbers we don't even know. They haven't even came out yet. So we really gotta watch some of these things, knowing that infrastructure needs to take a front seat to some of these things too.
I agree with you, but I also think that the revenue generated from people coming into the town from a complex like this could help offset some of those costs, the hidden costs that you're worried about.
Could help, yeah. It might, there will be additional revenue, I do agree, but it doesn't help us get, if we tie up $1 million in this, it doesn't help us get our streets done. It doesn't help the add traffic. I mean, there's a lot of things that are gonna pile on it. It doesn't help the storm sewer and the sanitary sewer that we have to get to this facility that's in an aging part of town. So when we start to get to getting that over there, I mean, we just gotta watch all these things that are gonna be complex on top of this. There's a lot of additional expense that's gonna come with this.
Unseen things that you don't think of.
I mean, I think it's a great thing. It's just, we have, people point out constantly that we have potholes in the road and storm sewers and this and that, where we didn't do an excellent job the last 2 years of getting as far ahead as I thought we might.
Yep.
I mean, nothing that Steve did, but that was what you focused on. You brought us that piece of pipe when you had your debate. That was half rusted shut.
Yeah, and that's not an isolated case.
Correct.
There's more.
With that, I don't know, can I speak?
Need to come up here. State your name, please, too.
Kirk Conrad. With that, our group just wants to just reiterate this is a long process, and we're not looking to move dirt anytime soon, 3+ years possibly down the road. And this is just the initial phase to get the ball rolling so we can kind of paint that pretty picture to start fundraising and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess when I first, and that's great, I mean, we need to push it down the road as far as we can to start paying off things like the water tower and other things like that, because when we first started the library project, I thought it was gonna be that 3-ish time frame, and it ended up being 18 months.
But we started the library in what, 2021?
So it will be 4 years from when it opens.
For when it opens, yeah.
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 We're making payments on it too,
We have expenses now.
Yep.
yeah.
So one of the things I kind of thought was, like, I have ideas on possible funding areas, but just like it was with FEH, it's certainly a challenge to go and say, like, hey, let's talk about funding it, and we have no idea where it's gonna go, and we don't know what it's gonna look like, and we don't know how much it's gonna cost. And so I agree with Andy, like, we have to make incremental and appropriate timing decisions, but I just think that more than just like having it, you know, like Dyersville and the Field of Dreams has a lot of funding. And if we kind of mimic ourselves like the Quad Cities, when you are at the TBK Center, there's a lot of communities around there that end up getting like one age bracket. If they have, like when I was in Eldridge, we had 7 fields and one age bracket would come to Eldridge. That the base tournament was at TBK, and who's ever putting on the TBK tournament would come to Eldridge and say, hey, can we bring all of our 8Us to your facility? And everybody came there. And so if we're going to have conversations like that, whether it's with the DRA or anybody like that, I think we have to have a plan. And also, they obviously have a certain amount of time to make a decision that needs to be an informed decision about the land. We know that that's a 2-year kind of sunset. They have the possibility of extending it. I would assume that if things are going and they're doing a good job at planning, that hopefully the owners of that land would be willing to extend it instead of kind of pulling, you either have to buy it now or out. But it's difficult to know more about that. And so while I don't want to facilitate, like we have, you know, next item up is the pickleball. So it doesn't end, and everybody sort of has their thing that they want, and they're all important. And it's really just the council's job to kind of figure out how to put that in. So that's the only reason that I would say it is the council supporting it is really about creating a roadmap more than, and that's what I think is good for you to take back to the group. Like, just because you get the plan doesn't mean it's going to happen because the plan exists. It's just the plan allows you to do more to prepare yourselves for if it ever happens.
Well, and with that too, we don't want to miss out not knowing what grants come available when, but if one comes available, we want to make sure we have the proper
Things in
foundation
place.
in place to be able to go after it.
And that, yeah, that's also great. We just gotta watch what we apply for grants, cause like this,
Sunsets.
the sunsets on it, this Dubuque County money kinda, I think that's what helped propel the library forward that
Yeah,
we
you had to
had.
have it planned by 24 and spent by 26, so, you know,
That's what kept that.
and we'll
moving
be a
rapidly.
year ahead of that, but
Yep.
if we had delayed it any further, you know, you're risking it not being done, so.
I think it's kind of the uncertainty of the council. I agree with the thought that, I mean, we're just getting done with the library, and now, and also, it always seems like when you start putting money out for studies and whatever, all of a sudden you get to a point where, well, we're already into this, you know, it's a bad time to back up, and those type of things.
But being in
I-
at 10,000 is way different than being in at
I know, but.
200,000.
That's correct. But I would just like to at least get some type of case studies so that we know that somewhere, some town has done something similar, and then we have an idea what kind of price tag that they worked with in the past 2 or 3 years. So we at least have an idea what we're getting into.
And different problems they ran into.
And, and perhaps what that municipality had applied for grants, what's out there. I mean, I have no idea.
I think if you're looking just for-
If we consider ourselves to be lucky to get a 10% of, grants or whatever, or if somebody had experience where they had, a third or 50% of it. I think we're just kind of shooting in the dark right now, and I hate to see us, if anything, I would say we would perhaps, table this for 1 month at least and try to get some of these ideas so we have an idea what we're getting into.
Well, there is a number out there, and it's $4.5 to $5 million. So this is not, if there isn't significant donations, you don't have to worry about voting on a project, because we can go through the same process that we went through with the library board, but the city doesn't have the legal authority to borrow $5 million to put this project up. Like, it's not possible. And so,
I don't think that this board wants that either. I think that I believe your intention is to fundraise the majority of this project. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to get started, and that's what we're trying to do. But yeah, we're definitely looking to go fundraise, and to do that, we think we need like what I'm calling that pretty picture, or that roadmap on how to do that.
I would say more than, just my advice, I wouldn't call it a pretty picture. Just because that seems expensive for a pretty picture, but it really is understanding, like, if they are engaging these guys, we are gonna sit down and have a conversation about water and about sewer. And so even if something, like if you go to another community, to your point, it's a good idea, and certainly they have to do that as a part of the process, but if you have a site that's already served with utilities, it's a significantly different number than if we have to pull utilities out there.
I guess
For-
my main concern now is, you know, apparently some of the council people may know where the site is. I have no idea. And to me, that could mean thousands of feet of sewer and water and gas and electric, or it could mean it's right across the street. I have no idea.
Right, but the
And
problem.
that's why I'm saying, I'd almost like to, you know.
I think you deserve those answers, Bill, but we can't engage anybody. And like, we're not gonna pay Jake if they're gonna look at it with
I just
us.
want to know where it's at.
So
You know,
it's,
for
a-
example, and
So it's not a
it's perhaps
secret.
something that shouldn't be shared. I have no idea.
I-
I'm just
I-
saying, but it's.
yeah, so it's
a lot to
the,
ask for people just to have no idea.
so it's the Knuth Farm, and it's out on Tyler, between Tyler and Monroe. So when you go out to River Bend, it would be to your right, or if you go out to his shop, it would be to your left.
Okay.
And they have is it 15 acres?
I want to say between 20 and 25.
Oh, sorry. So they have an offer out there, and it would be looked at for that purpose. So for example, we have a small lift station out there that will not be adequate for sewer. So to be able to have a legitimate number, we have to be able to meet and talk about what kind of demand there would be, because it is already, that land is in the city limits. So we would force that to be a water and sewer project. And so they're asking us lots of questions, and I've said, like, it's hard to invest a lot of that if we're not at least committed to coming up with a plan. So I agree, you need the numbers. I just don't know that you're gonna get accurate numbers without engaging someone to help us facilitate that process. So that's,
I'm
if
just
you,
saying, I've now learned in the past 5 minutes
I
where it's
understand.
at
I
and
understand.
possible cost. I have no idea what other cities have had for fundraising. I have no idea what's out there, if it's a $4.5 million project. Those are my concerns. It's just kind of shooting in the dark as far as I'm concerned.
Do you have any numbers on what other communities invested in a similar facility?
Nothing concrete, as there's nothing that we know of that is exactly the same, you know.
Oh, yeah, there would be.
We're taking this, I think, close to 25 acres, and we're looking at using possibly half of it, with the other half being in reserve for other entities in town that may want to expand into something else. Our group right now is just kind of focused on ball fields. We're still tossing around the ideas if we go to 3 or 4 and how that all lays out and everything, but you know, there's a lot of complexes that have built 3 for that 5 million, and there's some that, you know, built 6 fields for 5 million. So, and it just depends on how much dirt you gotta move and utilities, and like everything you say, what do you wanna do with parking, streets, you know, is that all paved, is it gravel, that kind of stuff too.
And I would probably agree with him too. It's hard to know, to give him a number on what other communities had to invest for the community, because every community
Each site's different.
Each site's different, but
Yeah.
the way the community reacts to it and donates would be different too. I mean, we have been slightly known as a baseball community, so maybe that will help gain some traction, but you don't know until they start fundraising. I guess I'm not afraid of the fundraising aspect or doing this. I just think we need to be planning now for what the future expenses to the city is gonna be, because we know we're gonna have another $100,000 wrapped up in another employee. Because we don't have enough guys to maintain and mow that complex. And by the time we add another employee, benefits and everything, that's what you're gonna be looking at.
So, and something else I want to bring up, we had this discussion 6 months ago when they added in the little park down by the silo. Like, we have 1.5 if we count Lincoln Park as another baseball field for our kids to play. Like, if we don't, like, the little practice field down by the silo was just a Band-Aid that's
The
to get
practice
us by
field.
for now. Like, something has to be done, so whether it's building a complex or putting in an entire baseball field somewhere, like, something has to be done.
And that's one thing too, we look at, we want to try to keep Cascade, try to get them closer up to pace with surrounding communities, you know, as what other communities have.
This, I guess, does this study only focus on that one plat of land, or will it be like the libraries in that it looked at other possible locations?
We've considered other locations that we kind of determined that this is by far the most feasible one. You know, if there was something, and I'm not sure, but east of town in the commercial district and everything, but there would be a lot more dirt to move there, and we were looking for enough acreages, and this fell within the city limits, and it just seemed ideal.
It lays better.
Yeah, yeah. And then with at that sense too, we had an owner that is willing just to sell.
To consider
So, yeah,
selling.
yeah.
And it's just a much, different than the library. You could build the library on a lot of other sites just because it's a small facility.
Yeah, I
And
just,
even the industrial park land wasn't enough land when we had the conversation with the CDC. Like, they had maybe, you wouldn't give them the whole 37 acres that's out there, and to have it kind of crammed in on the industrial park. So I feel like they, at least with their group, pre-hiring someone, vetted quite a few other locations.
And you guys have been having these discussions for what, year and a half, 2 years?
Conversations, yeah, for quite a while.
And how really they started probably 25 years ago.
I suppose so.
Sounds like the library.
I mean, to me, I think I'd like to give them the money to go work with the engineer firm so that they can get something drawn up so that we have an idea of what it's going to cost. Nothing's saying we're building this next year, or even in 2 years or 3 years, but the sooner they have what they need so that they can start fundraising, then they have the potential to fundraise even more money.
And
It
they've-
also gives us time to plan ahead for the future employee that we're gonna have to pay for.
And they've got a picture of what to fundraise for,
Exactly.
will this study,
you know.
or is this just
I guess-
a feasibility of the ground study, or will it show like what kind of revenue it would bring in, or what does this
Do you guys know what the 9,500 or 18,000 actually?
I don't think it was about the revenue.
Okay, it was-
No, it's really just our master plan, the first go-around of the design to see how the ball fields could fit, what would need to be done for streets, utilities, that kind of thing.
Something
It's
we
your
could,
first phase of the drawings.
Yeah.
but like Monticello has one, and they have tournaments every weekend. Piasta has tournaments every weekend.
If you look on page 57 of your packet, that's a pretty good list. Prepare a base map, have a kickoff meeting, research on all the utilities, prepare 2 concept plans, prepare an image board, meet with the owner to review master plans, prepare the master plan, prepare a rough budget estimate, meet with the owner to review the final plan, have a public open house. So it's under the letter A.
I guess my other question, just because I remember it slightly from the pool, if we sign this and do this, this doesn't give us, you have to do this by such and such a date, and we're locked in with this designer or anything, because I know like we were locked in with the pool company that
Yeah.
we did, or Burbach, and if we didn't
couldn't
sign
go
with it,
anyplace
we couldn't
else.
go anyplace else for a long period of time, like we were committed
Yeah,
by doing that. That's, I guess, my fear. I don't want to be,
locked in.
Well, the good news is the city is not even signing the contract with them, so.
And Lisa, I think my recollection is, by this first 19,000, the first phase, if we wanted to leave Hall and Hall at that point, we can. We're not locked in. to
You're
go
not
any
locked
further-
into
To
them,
go to them, to go any further if we didn't,
with them.
right,
with,
correct.
yeah, because that's what kind of got us locked in on that pool. We were going with
We
them.
couldn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wanted to pool, that's where we're going.
At any phase, we could jump ship. and
Pull
go
the
to
plug
somewhere
and-
else. Yeah.
Yeah, any other questions? Thank you. If nothing else, I need a motion on resolution number 95-23.
I'll make a motion on resolution 95-23.
Motion by Oliphant,
I'll second.
second by Delaney, roll call.
Hush,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Oliphant,
Aye.
Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Number 10, consider 94-23 to approve the location of future pickleball courts and allow fundraising for the project.
So the park board has, there's a bunch of people here from pickleball as well. The park board has been meeting with pickleball for a number of months, kind of talking about where those facilities might be. Obviously, this is a much smaller scale project. Do you, hold on, Michael or Christy, do you want to send these off? We have 3 signed.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay? They have to sign it. Everybody else has to sign it, so there's 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
See ya.
Thanks. They're not mine. So anyway, much smaller scale project. Kind of handling this, I would say, similar to how we handle the playground equipment, where we expected the group to go out and do some fundraising on their own, be able to come back. There's been no commitment on the part of the park board as to how much we can afford, so the more they can fundraise, the better chance they have to do it. We did invite the neighbors in the area, not the whole Oak Hill, but just people that were immediately adjacent to the property there. One of them did come and talk to the park board about it. We're able to answer their questions. Obviously, they want us to be respectful. They're the ones that would be immediately adjacent. So we talked about if the project were to ever go forward, we can, talk about bushes, a fence, things like that. And so what we're doing tonight is asking the council to consider 2 things. One, to confirm, so that obviously the same thing that we just talked about with baseball is that if people are going to go out and ask for money, we can't say, yeah, please give us money, and we don't know where these are going to go or what the amount is. And so a little different than some of these bigger projects. Pickleball's pretty straightforward between fence and concrete. There's been some as low as $35,000 per court. When we met with Chad Demmer, he had said that we should probably plan on 40 to 45, which is where we get the number of 180,000 for their goal to be able to see how much we can get towards that. Again, nobody's being promised that this is going to get built in the spring. Could, again, be probably a year to 2 years. The quicker the funds come in, the better. We have connected them to the enhancement committee, so we'll do it similarly that we did to the playground equipment, where the donations go to them. We'll keep track of it, and then if there's expenses incurred off of that, then we will get the money back from the enhancement committee. And then, so it's permission to fundraise on January 1, which was at the request of the enhancement committee, and then just confirming that the council is supportive of a future location being in the northeast corner of Oak Hill Park, or
One
the park by there.
Thing I just want to go on record saying, just because I pointed it out to Stephen, Lisa beforehand, I think we really want to watch painting the concrete all one solid color. We just want to stripe it. It'll be just like what happened down at the ballpark, where moisture gets under.
Yeah, it
it's
lifts
in the
it.
concrete, it lifts the paint up, it flakes off, and we'll be going through the same vicious cycle again. We really want to be diligent of just painting lines. I know they might not be as beautiful, that they can't be bright colors like they are, but I think for longevity and for expense in the future, if we can just paint lines are a lot easier to go back and paint than painting whole courts again.
And the other thing is to put a vapor barrier under before you surface anything.
Correct, because just with Iowa winters, we're going to get freeze thaws,
Not good.
and it's going to lift off.
So I don't know if anybody has any questions of the group, but again, tonight strictly, can they fundraise starting on the first of the year? And being able to confirm that the council's okay if built someday, that it would be in that
The
location.
concrete expert can talk.
I want to get him to argue with Andy a little bit.
Make sure you state your name, just because.
Dale Masher. Andy, I agree, we don't want that kind of mess. But I went up to Dyers while they're playing on their pickleball courts, their concrete. That concrete's probably 40 years old. It looks great. I think it was done right. When those courts were first surfaced down here, they acid washed it so it would bond good.
Yep.
And I think they were 20 years old before we painted the things.
It was a while.
It was a long time. I mean, I think it's done right. I'm not saying the contractor did last time, didn't do it right, I don't know what's going on. But there's ways of doing it where you can have decent looking courts, and it's much nicer to play on painted courts than it is just straight concrete.
It's a more friendly surface.
Yeah, yeah.
But you'd still put a vapor barrier under,
It kind of depends.
depending
If
on what
were
you,
inside, would.
what
I
you
don't
put
think
under for
outside.
base.
You put a vapor barrier down outside, you might just hold moisture underneath. it.
Yeah,
Or,
that could,
You know, I'm sure there's all kinds of engineers can have different opinions
Yeah.
on that, but we just did courts in Manchester a year and a half ago. Tennis courts and pickleball courts, they painted the whole thing. And then, like Steve says, they put a texture on it also. So I just hate to see it limited to only striping. So,
We wouldn't be deciding that now, but
Right,
we
right.
just have to be cognizant of that
that's
kind
just
of
a
stuff.
consideration
right,
to
so for
look at.
Andy's last meeting, I wanted to argue a little bit with him.
Thanks, Dale.
Can we get some type of estimates on, obviously, with the playground equipment and whatever, or with the playground equipment starting using it as a park, as to what services where we're at as far as restroom facilities, water, sewer, electric for lighting?
You want prices?
Well, I think we
Just
need to
a-
get some type of,
Guesstimate.
I mean, are we talking an outlay of a few $100,000 for the city to
To bring in
to just put up
services.
some type of structure or are we talking $500,000? I mean, I
This
don't
is
know.
not, this is, like, giving them permission for pickleball is
I
not
know,
putting
but,
bathrooms.
yeah, but we're also moving ahead with at least one project this spring. And who's, you know.
So you're
is it
saying
all right if
projecting
they-
out into
Is it
the
all right
future?
if they
Yeah.
use your
Use
restroom
this.
in the basement?
No.
That'd be all right.
'Cause
No, I
that's-
mean, basically, that's where, that's
You're
where we're
projecting out, like,
Yeah.
what's this gonna look like for us to get a structure in there and everything if we do it?
Because that's
down
going to be the
road?
next thing. I mean, you know, there's going to be kids running around, there's going to be whatever. It's
And
gonna
then
be-
establishing the access street.
Yeah, I mean, I just want somebody give us an idea where we're at, what we're going to require just to, I mean, obviously, this is turning into a park and whatever, so,
And restroom facilities will be the first
And-
thing requested.
yeah, I don't know where, you know, sewer, water, electric,
There's water out in the middle of it.
That's where that line runs,
Right, isn't
east
there
and
a
west.
hydrant standing? Somebody had said there was.
There's like a stick that has a spigot on it, but I don't think it's connected in.
There's a hydrant that's gonna be at the end of the
But-
cul-de-sac.
Well, there's a, yeah, there's
water.
a, there's a hydrant at the end of the cul-de-sac.
but regardless, if we're talking about, you know, restrooms, maybe even some type of shelter, you know, a small shelter along with that.
But
just
we're
to have
again
some-
talking about the same thing that we just got done talking about, is then we have to engage somebody to be able to give us,
Well, I mean,
I mean, you can, but it's just then the
well, I mean,
council has to hire
even
Jake.
with the playground equipment, spring of 2024, we're basically, you know, where's the restroom facility at? Where is water at?
We told the playground people that if they wanted to have the playground, we were not having bathrooms out there. And if it becomes an issue, you can pay for a porta potty for a couple months out of
I mean,
every
we
year.
have
And
the Lincoln Park that doesn't have bathroom facilities, doesn't have water. New City Park's closed half the year, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the rest of the time, I mean,
you're easily gonna
I-
be spending $3-4+
mean,
$100,000 to have bathrooms.
well, I mean, is that the
How-
commitment we're doing though? I mean, are we making a park out of this, or are
You
we
can't really.
making a park out of this, or are we just putting porta pots up, I guess? And.
I think if you say we're gonna have to have bathrooms at the same time, then you're gonna end up not.
Well, I'm not promoting it, I'm just saying, but in the real world,
Right, but if we want the real world, then we have to, just like we said, these guys, like, we can't tell you what the price is of the baseball without hiring someone, and we can certainly have Jake come in there and do that if that's what the council wants to do.
And I don't know, 5 years ago, something went to the park board about that park. And they had rough drawings and rough estimates of what
Yeah, I've
things
seen,
would cost.
well, I don't know, you might as well throw the estimates in the
Yeah.
toilet.
Yeah, I mean,
If it was done before COVID,
well, forget it.
because it's just, I mean, even look at 2021 to when we bid out the library, like, it's just,
I kind of like more of the Indian approach. We got a park out there. They're going to go out and see if they can fundraise enough money for the pickleball courts. I think everybody, at least that I know of in the general area coming in, going to use the park, I don't think anybody's gonna complain about a couple porta potties for a little while, and then maybe down the road, we can. look at
I just
maybe
want to
a
know what we're getting
facility or
into here.
something
I
like
mean,
that, But I don't think we need to jump the gun too fast on that.
I don't know. I haven't been to too many parks that don't have facilities.
I mean,
Well,
obviously.
I'm not worried, but I'm just saying, I think we have to realistically look at this and start budgeting, either budget money for 3 years from now to, you know, for a $350,000, $400,000 investment.
That you know that's going to be needed in the future.
Well, when we had this discussion, it's the same as we did with streets, like we give the park board $50,000. So when like the pickleball people came and said, well, why can't the council give more money? I'm like, well, we can, but then we gotta take it from somewhere else. And so that's the challenge that lies ahead is you have a lot of 50s to add up to enough for a bathroom, or you have a lot of 50s to pay for pickleball. And so we have to be able to, you know, and it's, do we let them do it, or do we say we gotta wait until we have all these plans and then we end up spending, you
Well,
know?
I'm just trying to get it so we know in 3 years or 4 years if we're gonna have additional outlays of cash. right?
Basically, I guess the easiest question I see from this is, are you okay with her having Jake look at this?
Well, you gotta have the council approve a contract, because it's not
Oh, yeah.
gonna be cheap. Look at how much you
Yeah.
spent to plan the gazebo.
Oh, I know, but that's what, I mean,
Well, that
if
many
Bill wants a
times,
definite
right.
answer, we just, we're gonna have
It's
to.
absolutely, we can put it on a future agenda,
Yeah.
and I can get a price from Jake and be able to know what that number is. It's just that you're investing like the gazebo, like you did, like it kept on and on and on, and then if you look at the amount of money that we engineer the gazebo compared to building it, we just have to like let it be then, and then wait till we get to that point. And then the numbers have to be updated. It just, but yeah,
As
if
far as
I
I'm
can put it
concerned, I
on
mean,
a
if the
future
city-
agenda.
If the city, I mean, even if we can get some raw estimates, I mean, I don't need to know, whatever, I just need to know that, you know, that sewer's not a problem, water's not a problem, utilities gives us an idea of what it takes to.
How many feet you'd have to
1,000
put in.
feet of certain size electric to it, and propose certain lighting facilities, I guess, or whatever we need. I just, I
There's
think
nothing.
it's things that are down the road. I mean, Andy, we were just talking about, you know, need for streets and whatever, and all of a sudden, you know, we're perhaps looking at $300,000 or $500,000 that,
Well, I
you know, and
think we can just
expenditures
look
showing
at that
that.
as pretty much off the table right now in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, nothing about this pickleball, like,
Is
they want to
asking
be
the
able to
city
play
for money.
pickleball, and nobody has said, like, we're requiring bathrooms if we go out and
But
play.
I'm just talking about the playground equipment, whatever, if kids are there or whatever, and, you know,
I mean-
they come from across town or something like that, I think that's just the reality of the situation, but.
Again, I just think that people have understood that the park has been there for 13 years and we've done nothing with it, and that people would rather see a place to have the playground and have to run back home to the bathroom.
I'm just
or-
looking at 3 or 5 years down the way, just simply sitting there saying, hey, you know, are we gonna make a full-blown commitment here? Whether it's
So
water.
do you want me to
It's
put-
something as simple as water. I mean, if you got a 3-year-old and they're thirsty and whatever, and they, you know, or they, whatever, you're gonna have to have some water there at least, nothing else.
So do you want me to put on the future agenda to approve money to have plans drawn up?
I'm not sure if, I'm not sure if we can't just talk to the city crew and find out that closest, you know, the closest
Where the
sewer is
available.
whatever, and we have flow
It'd
going
be
down.
stubbed on the edge of the street.
The edge of the street.
It's just the end of the cul-de-sac that is
And that
behind Riley's house.
that there's water there, get some idea on, from the utility company, what we're talking about for electric, just something.
Electric is not us,
Oh, that's
Macokota Valley.
Macokota.
Okay, well, from somebody. Well,
Then I'm pretty sure there's, right here, there's the big green boxes. Because I play fetch with my dog over there.
I can certainly get you information about where the utilities are. Is that what, just start, Bill? Is that what you would like?
yeah, I would think of, you know, some type of building, you probably talk a couple $100,000, the restrooms. At least we have an idea where we're at. And the reality that, we're gonna have to have these expenditures down the road.
And kind of an estimate on what you'd have for footage on sewer and water lines from where it's available?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 9423 at this point, to let them start fundraising
Yeah.
for pickleball courts.
I'll second.
Motion by Kelchen, second by Roush. Roll call?
Delaney,
Aye.
Oliphant,
Aye.
Kelchen,
Aye.
Roush,
Aye.
Hush.
Aye. And
Mayor,
again-
Mr.
and-
Mayor, I do have to leave now as well.
And again,
Nice.
my main concern is not whether.
Thanks,
the-
everybody.
See you later.
Whether courts are built or not, the main thing is
Yeah.
just to know what we're going into in the near future, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Gary Frazier.
Last summer, early spring, we were down at the new complex in Marion, and that's probably been in operation now for 2 years plus. They still had porta potties down there. They had,
This was by pickleball
no, this is
or
the
just
baseball
oh,
field
baseball for kids?
in their park. They had some permanent ones, but they also had a numerous because they didn't have enough.
Oh, as addition.
Yes. So they were 2 years old at that complex, and they got like 7 or 8 ball fields there, so porta potties up here for a time being would not be a problem.
I mean, my brother plays college baseball, and their baseball field doesn't, like, it's a City of Cedar Rapids field, and they don't open the college season's over before the city unlocks the actual
Restrooms.
public restrooms, yeah.
And most people
So it's
anymore
porta potties until then.
that are out active, working out, carry a water bottle. I mean, you hardly see anybody that's not walking or working out that doesn't have
Yeah.
a water bottle with them.
Well, and if you look at, like, we're required in the library to put in water fountains, and I'm like, who even, like, we have one right there, and there's 2 people that drink out of it.
Yeah.
So it's, like in an inside
anyway,
building, you're required, but
I think it's something we can, like, I totally get what Bill's saying to kind of get the idea that we're gonna have to put money away to restructure and invest in this area, and I'm all on board with that, but I think we need to do more of an onion effect where, yep, you guys fundraise, yeah, we got the playground equipment, yeah, maybe we have a couple porta potties for the kids or something slow.
Yeah.
Just kind of,
It
as
doesn't
we
have to
go.
be done
Yeah.
overnight.
Yep.
I mean, this might take us a while to,
Right.
well, not must, it will.
It will.
So.
Yeah.
thank you.
Anyway, thanks for your
Thank you.
time and thanks for helping us out.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Number 11, consideration of resolution number 96-23 to allow EMS volunteers to collect mileage for use of personal vehicles.
This came up at the EMS meeting last week that Mike and the mayor attended. They are required now, if you'll recall, that was one of the budget items where they have to run and have their drug boxes filled up. They used to just get them, I think, while they were at the hospital. So we don't want them taking the ambulance down and leaving town with it to fill up those, but they are required to get down there and do it, so they're taking their personal vehicles. So that was one of the requests that came back from the meeting. So I spoke with both the mayor and Mike and agreed that we would put this on here, and I think it's appropriate. Other employees, if they use their personal vehicles, get that reimbursement. So the way the resolution is written is just whatever the federal mileage amount is, which is currently 65.5 cents.
And that was agreeable to them?
That's what they requested, so.
Okay.
Question I have, is there anything for the fire department too? Because if they have to try to do a training or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, you
It's the
can
same
add
type
it
of
and put
thing.
both if you want. You can amend the resolution and say both, it's fine.
I don't know if they've ever brought that up.
I don't think they have, but
don't
if we're doing
Think so.
EMS, might as well do the fire department at the same time. Because they're both volunteers.
For the EMS committee, do you want to have it be separate and discuss it with fire and come back, or do
And-
you want to add both?
And yeah, if
We
we
can
wanted,
come back
I'm
with-
totally fine with that.
I just for the opportunity to speak with fire, I'd rather have.
Do it separate?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will talk to them.
Talk to them.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If none, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 9623.
Motion by Kelchen,
Second.
second by Hush. Roll call.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Number 12, consideration of resolution number 97-23, approval to discontinue renting the EMS building to the public.
Again, this was at the request of EMS based on their inspection that they got. I think that we do need to continue to let the elections happen there, which are 1 to 2 times a year. We literally don't have another public building in Jones County, and we cannot, I don't think by law you can invite them to,
Private, I
you
don't,
can't, well, I think it has to be someplace open to the public, and I don't even think they could like all come to City Hall, because I think it has to be
In June.
in
In
Jones
Jones
County.
County.
So, my resolution that I'm recommending worded that it did have to stay for elections, and then I guess it would be up to the council if you feel like AA should be able to stay until the library's built, or if you feel like giving them 4 months' notice is appropriate to find another location.
How often does AA meet?
Once a month, right? Or every week, sorry. Come up to the podium, though.
We've met every Friday night for the last approximately, we're going on 2 years, with the exception of one night where the city clerk called and EMS had said there was training. And
So once a week?
yeah.
Okay.
Also, you said the EMS made a recommendation, or there was a recommendation to them. I would ask that a poll be taken of the EMS, if there hasn't been one already, which I kinda under the understanding there was, that the workers really didn't have an issue with us being there because we clean the place up and we leave stuff in the fridge for them, pop, water, try to make it better than when we left.
Understood.
Mhm.
We still have to be able to address, though, the concerns if we had an inspection that said that they would like us to address that. So even if the employees think one thing, if the inspection said something different, that's kind of why, you
But it
know?
was a recommendation, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
It was
Rather than a requirement.
correct.
Well, did they even say who it was
No.
On your
when we were at that meeting?
resolution,
I can't think of who.
on your resolution, it said it was a recommendation.
I thought it was the state
I thought it was for their state inspection, so it came
Yeah.
through there.
that it couldn't be used for public use.
That was one of the things they got hit on
Mhm.
because of the public. It wasn't that it was you, it was just in general.
It's just anybody.
So the concern in any type of situation that, and I can totally see where they're coming from, is that when you are housing medical devices, narcotics of
Mhm.
different sorts in this area, when these public meetings are taking place, it doesn't matter who it is.
Or if it's locked or.
It's just, there is
Yeah.
no one from the city representing or watching, there's no guard.
On
There's
site.
no on-site, there's there's not even security as far as
Mhm.
like, besides locked doors and stuff like that, that becomes an issue when you start dealing in that general vicinity. The entire scope of that needs to be looked at, probably on a whole security level of different things. It's probably been way overdue for a long time. But
Well-
I would say it's gonna be more of a thing that they're gonna look at more and more as they go down the road.
I understand the council's position. I know how insurance stuff works, but we truly don't create no greater liability than a park or swimming pool. I know they would recommend that you not have them because kids can get hurt.
Mhm.
I mean, things can happen. Granted, there are things that are there, stationed there, that are more harmful. But truly, I don't know. I'm a union iron worker. I don't know how that tin building is any more secure with us being in one room, as long as everything's locked up and it's respected.
It's just the fact that even though those spaces are locked, the fact that those items are in there and that space is being used by the public, that's kind of what dictates the whole thing.
The concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you asked other places like the churches yet?
Yeah, we have, but the accessibility issue, the members would have to either climb a flight of stairs to get in, which some of them, that's unrealistic. We have a gentleman.
Wheelchair accessibility is what you're gonna be needing.
Yeah, and bathroom ability to get in and have the bathroom on the same floor, would be great.
So, anything else you need there?
If there's ability to make coffee,
Coffee.
and we can pay rent. Even if we're not required, we require ourselves to be responsible.
Oh, yeah, and even EMS said that you guys are a really good group and so forth. It's not any of that, it's just the public, like Steve said, it's just more looking at that, so see if we can find
It is the
any
state.
options for you.
It is the state, I just asked.
Well, if we could get an exception until
The library be built.
Either preferably.
Why don't we
Take
take
a
the
look at
time
it.
and just see what we got for options? And see if we can't find something here that would work.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to leave it for April to at least give them something to try to look for something else? And then we can
That'd be a
revisit
nice
it
I think
before
so.
then?
That, and if we all kind of
Yep.
So we do have to
put the
look
word
at,
out that we need to find these guys a home,
Yep.
maybe we can find a suitable.
And leave it go until April or whatever.
well, at least this,
Right, until we find them something.
Yeah.
we're not, your first obligation is to do what's best for the city services that we provide. And the state is saying it's not advisable to have an organization there. And so helping them find a home would seem more palatable to me than just kind of ignoring
Yep.
what the state said during our inspection.
I agree.
Thank you. So we need to still act on the resolution?
I would say yes, and we'll try to do everything we can to make them whole somewhere.
I need a motion on resolution number 97-23.
I'll make a motion on 97-23.
Motion by Kelchen,
Second.
second by Roush. Roll call.
I'm sorry, so we're,
So we're saying nobody else can use it, including this group, as of April 1, with the exception of the county, for elections
Voting.
only. And then, basically, on the side, you're not voting on it, but we're going to try to put the word out and try to get them another place before then.
That would satisfy what they need.
Okay. Number 13.
We didn't vote yet.
Oh. Roll call.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
nay.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchen.
Aye.
Number 13, consideration of resolution number 92-23, declaration of surplus sweeper and industrial street booster station building.
So the sweeper will be here on Wednesday. They'll be going over some minor training with the guys, and then they will come again in the spring when we're actually using it more. So we no longer need the one that we have. We're hoping to be able to get something out of it, who knows what. I think going out to a outside auction like Big Iron that we've used in the past would be wise. And then I explained about the water booster system concrete building on Industrial Street, that we want to give that land back to the CDC, and they don't want that building to be on there. So we're gonna try to see, I know Andy knows a lot about, this is not gonna be an easy task for anybody to move, if they can at all. Probably not looking at really getting revenue as much as not paying for demo, and maybe somebody will bid some small amount and take it off our hands. So I don't know if you have any thoughts, Andy, I think it was custom.
Yep, it was
Precast.
precast building. Somebody called me on it, I forget who had, but they're individual concrete panels. There's weld plates on the back, there's plates welded between them to tie them together on the top, and I'm betting on the bottom, it's probably, we put an insert in there, so there's a pin that goes down into the footing, and they were filled with mortar to keep the bottoms from moving, and they were set in
Yep.
place. So same thing as what was done at the car wash, what we did at the Legion. It's removable, but it's not like it's gonna move it in one piece. It's gonna have to be deconstructed.
Somebody that
and
can,
sit back.
right. So we may not, but I think it's worth trying, kind of is what we thought, if the council's okay.
Street sweeper, did they put a lot of extra hours on that since we're a little behind on getting it, or did that,
Not much,
not much?
just enough to pick up the chips.
No, on our new one.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like their
So,
primary
yeah,
unit
in
for
my
the
memo, I
last-
explained that there were some hours on there. We tried like heck to get the price down, but we were able to get about $4,000 in equipment. No, I would say equipment, sorry,
Accessories,
parts.
parts.
So we got 2 full sets of the brooms, and then every single filter that, I can't remember all the names that Phil and Ben rattled off, but every filter times 2.
Has been
So when they
changed.
gave us the price, it was $4,000, and that's just easier for them to give us than reducing the price. We knew that they were going to not give it to us most likely until May or June. And in fairness, what they said was, when we knew that number, that was the majority of the hours that they used was that spring, and then they didn't really use it all summer. And then it's been in the shop getting rehabbed mostly during the fall, so. That was our back and forth 3 times to do what we could to get some sort of compensation for it.
And I think that unit that we have, it's still, I think we need to advertise it well on like Big Iron or Gov Planet, because it's still
should
worth
have good
something
value.
to somebody, because at the end of the day, it still has a John Deere motor in it.
Yep.
That is worth, I believe it's a John Deere motor. I don't
Just the
quote
motor
on that.
alone.
Yeah, I believe
We are
it.
definitely gonna try to get the best price we can.
What was the efficiency for picking up chips of the new sweeper? Less than the old one, or better?
We didn't use the new one at all.
No, what's the efficiency? I mean, what's it proposed? I know we talked about it with Phil. Whether the
It
new
will-
one will do the same job
It will
or
do the same
better
job,
or
because we
worse?
didn't get a vac. This one's still a mechanical broom. Because they were initially looking at a vac, and we did not go
Yeah,
with
the
vac
backs
option.
wouldn't work.
This
for
is a
any of
mechanical
that.
broom, it's the same
Yep.
operating
So it's
system.
basically, it'll replace it without
Correct.
any degradation of service?
Correct.
Okay. I was just wondering if we kept the old, I mean, the other one wasn't, the old one wasn't, what, if the numbers we get from that is just paltry if we keep it, or just chips?
Yeah, I think maintenance on 2 of them and not using it enough would do more of a disservice on it than selling it. And the bottom of the bin was the problem, and chips are a significant amount of weight, so it's not in our best interest, I don't think, to keep it.
No, I just didn't.
And I think-
Said if it was just,
When the
We
new
got-
one comes, to take a look at the collection bin to make sure that it doesn't need to be coated, just to save that.
Correct.
Any other questions? If none, I need a motion on resolution number 92-23.
I'll make a motion on resolution 92.
Motion by Kelchin,
second,
second by Hush, roll call.
Hush,
aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Number 14, consideration of ordinance number 21-23, violations to snow emergency parking definition of snow emergency and adding citations.
So at the last meeting, we talked about eliminating the alternate side parking, which really isn't being adhered to anyway. And we also talked about adding citations versus strictly having towing. So that's in there. And then also just instead of defining a snow emergency as like what it looks like, and I just added mayor or city administrator, so in the absence of the mayor, we always check with the mayor anyway, but. And then before, we also talked about that you could just tow at the owner's expense without notice. I think, again, because we're giving ourselves more options, that we should make it clear in the ordinance that we expect staff to try and make an attempt. There's no reason why we can't, and so we
To
have
make-
right in
yeah.
there, yeah. Like right now, it says we don't have to notify you at all. So now it says we're gonna make an attempt to get a hold of you, which I think is wise. to
And
have
that's
in there.
good.
Yep.
Any other questions? If none, I need a motion on ordinance 21-23.
One thing I wanted to mention, okay, so if we close that street,
Lincoln,
Lincoln,
on the east side.
yeah,
We haven't yet.
what?
We're
I
coming
said
to
we
it.
haven't yet.
So if we do that, so we have like the other public parking over behind, like next to the,
Behind Cheryl's.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
can we make an effort to make sure that's plowed then? Because like, I'm worried like, if you have to park down at Lincoln Park or down at the Cooey Trail, like, that's all up and downhill, like some people that's just not realistic.
We can certainly say that in the parking spaces closest to downtown, that those can get prioritized by one of the guys. so
Or
that-
even if
But
City
they're probably
Hall-
gonna be parked there. Hopefully
Yeah.
they're parked there before it's snowing.
Yeah, or even City Hall can get
Yeah.
plowed as soon as possible.
Which they do, they hit Main Street.
Hard, yeah.
Well, and that they come out, so they drop their plow and hit it. Because it's,
And they come right up by the coffee shop. So yeah, I can definitely mention that to the guys, Riley.
And then we need to vote on the consideration on adopting 20.
Right, so if we're gonna do that so that we have it for the winter, the first motion would be the sub 1 under 14, if you wanna do it that way.
Yeah, I need a motion on 21-23, sub motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the sub motion.
Motion by Delaney, second by Roush. Roll call.
Delaney,
Aye.
Kelchin.
aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Number 15, consideration of ordinance number 22
No, now we gotta do the original 14.
Oh,
Not
gotcha.
up there, sorry.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 21-23.
Motion by Roush,
Second.
second by Kelchin. Roll call.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush. Delaney.
Aye.
Number 15, consideration of ordinance number 22-23 for snow removal from sidewalk ordinances for 24-hour period.
So really, when it comes to the sidewalks themselves, the core changes that we're making are, again, we do not declare a snow emergency as defining 4 inches or more. We just say when it's defined. That's in this ordinance 22. We also add that the ADA accessible ramps are part of the definition of sidewalks. We already had in the one section of the code, the 24 hours, but you'll recall that we had the one section where it just talks about a reasonable time. So we had a conflict there where one said 24 and one said reasonable time. And then we have there an administrative fee. When I spoke to 2 of the contractors that would be willing to do the work, you know, again, our goal is never to ever have to charge anybody or hire it. We can certainly have a list of contractors that people can hire. And they are gonna get notified and have a 24-hour notice. So even though it's 24 hours, we're not gonna just drive around after 24 hours and actually remove the snow. We're gonna wait for 24 hours, hang a tag, which warns you that you have another 24 hours, then you'll still have the night, and then by the time we even would begin to talk about having somebody come out there, which we always had that right to do, we just really didn't use it. We're getting probably 60 hours after, you know, we're not, because it's 24, then we're gonna add 24, and then by the time they get out there, so.
Any questions?
So if they're placing the thing 24 hours after, like, are they gonna like knock on the door and at least try to make contact, or is it literally just going up, hanging something on the door in hopes that they open their door to find it?
Yeah, I mean, we can decide either way.
I guess my question is it something the city's hanging the tag, or is that contractor hanging the tag?
So in my conversations with the contractors, like, nobody wants to be the bad guy. I feel like I'm gonna end up doing it myself. So nobody wants to. But they would prefer, the contractors themselves don't want to do it.
Don't want to hang the tag.
They don't want to hang the tags. And so my proposal here is that we look to try to find someone on a hourly basis that can drive around and go do it. Because if we're looking at enforcing it at the time we're talking about, like, the guys are still cleaning up snow. I've had people say, why don't the police officers do it? They can certainly help if they're around, but that's not necessarily practical either, depending on if we're on, who's working on what days. So I think we have to have one person that goes around and does it. And again, I've worked in a lot of communities where, just to your point about what we just talked about with having full-time park guys that, like, are more focused on parks and then they don't have as much to do in the winter. Like, I've worked in cities where that's the person that they used, but that's not really a luxury that we have here. We kind of have to be able to assign it. And if we're committed to doing it, then that's, I think, what's best. And again, you can go back to the way that we always done it and just let people do whatever they want. But in my opinion, that's probably not wise, because you say you should do it and we don't really enforce it. So. The ordinance itself is one thing.
Any questions?
I don't have a problem with having to remove it, I guess. My problem is paying a city person to go out and hang that, because then it looks more, which I know it's just like the contractors want to do it, it looks like the city's targeting people.
Well, and they think that it looks like they're just targeting people so they can make money.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, like, this is just about enforcement. Like, it's, every time Fred or Brad goes out and does something, like, you could say the same thing. Like, they're enforcing codes. If you are targeting a dog barker, there's probably another dog barker, but we go to where somebody talks about the dog barking, and this is like, you can just say we're gonna do it by complaint only. And I mean, just my winter here, last winter, like, there's calls that I got. And I've had arguments at the front counter with the person downtown who's like, yeah, I'm on my way. It's a big deal. But then I have the neighbors saying, we either have our customers tromping through the snow and having a trip hazard, or now we are forced to do somebody else's work for them. So that's what, when you're actually dealing with the enforcement side of it, that's what is difficult. So I'd love that the contractors did it themselves, but I spoke to two, and they're not gonna do that for us. And then the same thing, like, nobody wants to be the bad guy.
Is the city, or the contractors willing to shovel it then? Or is this city person, this seasonal person, hanging the door hanger and the one that's gonna shovel?
My understanding from the two contractors that I spoke to is that I would, if you go ahead with this, like, I'm gonna have a sheet and I'm gonna say, how much are you gonna charge us for a foot of sidewalk, either to remove snow or to do salt and sand, like, if it's icy. And then they'll have a price. And then whoever's the lower of the two, that's who we're gonna hire. So this person would go around, we give them a route, these are where there are not sidewalks, that's life, there's just not sidewalks someplace. And they would say, mark 20 houses, and if, on the door hanger, the way I've seen in other communities, we had like a perforated bottom. So they walk up, 320 First Avenue, they mark on there, they hang the tag, and then they have a schnib at the bottom that they perforate off, and it says 321st. They give them 24 hours, they go redo those, go drive past those 20. If 10 of them are done, they have 10 left, and then those will go to the contractor.
So
And
we
they'll
treat
go
a
clear.
2-inch snowfall the same as a 2-foot snowfall?
Doesn't say you don't have to shovel 2 inches, unless you want to make it
No, I'm
that
just
way.
saying, but you're talking about per foot, that you're gonna base it on.
No, that's not
contractors.
it, it's frontage.
Like, how many
So if you have
feet
50
of-
feet of frontage, and they say $1, you're gonna have a $50 bill.
Yeah, so in your question, yes, 2 inches of
Yes,
snow
yes.
would be the same as 2 foot deep of snow.
So is that fair? I mean, are contractors aware of that? I mean, is that?
I mean, if they balk at that, I guess we could say like there's a fee for 6 inches or less or 6 inches or more. I can ask the two
Well, I mean,
guys.
there almost have to be something. I mean, 1 inch snow.
But what happens
versus
when you
a-
like get plowed? Like, I feel like most contractors, like when I don't do it often because I have a snow blower, but I feel like when I've heard people give prices, they'll come to your house and say, this is your driveway, and they charge you a
So
fee.
much an hour.
And
or-
It's per time they come.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the way most snow
Yeah.
people, you're gonna take the good with the bad.
Yeah. But using what Al said, like what happens if somebody clears their driveway or clears their sidewalk and then they go out of town in 2 days, like, or
Yeah.
12 hours later, or like they come and clear it and then 2 days later, like, I don't, like,
What do you do?
Perfect example. So I live on the corner, 136
Yep.
and Third Avenue, and the state comes by and they push
All of it
this-
on your
Yep, all of it
sidewalk.
on the sidewalk. And then our city plow truck, which they do a great job, but they go straight through the intersection over to the apartment side. So I got a triangle on my ADA compliant
Mm-hmm.
sidewalk that I gotta clean, sometime could be 12 foot out. So I might clean that, and then later on in the day when they get time,
They
they'll
do
come
the
by,
radius.
and they might scoop the corner.
Mhm.
Then I gotta go back out and clean it again. It's, I don't know, it's just not fair to everybody that's got a sidewalk. I know we clean it, but to sit there and say that we're gonna have to have somebody show.
The problem is that people don't. So you may be a good citizen.
For the one or two people that actually walk on the sidewalk. Because everybody else walks the street.
The street.
Because we got streets that we're gonna build a park out in a new subdivision. We're not gonna have sidewalks in that subdivision. All these little toddlers are gonna walk to the park on the street.
I had an employee today ask if we could just start ripping up sidewalks. I told him that's not a good idea. But perhaps Al would like to advocate for that.
The other thing, could you solicit private individuals to be available on a list to do shoveling? I mean, there's seasonal construction people
So the
that
point
may
of,
be
yeah,
interested
so the
in that.
point of this, you mean to be paid?
By the homeowner.
So we will start with, like, if we do this, we can start with like, do you want to be on our list of, call these people? Because when we get a price from these guys, they need to be more expensive than if you hire. So I said to one of the contractors, I'll make up a number. If you're going to charge them $100 when they call you, you need to charge $150 when they call us, when we send you out there. Because the point is not for us to have to do this. If you screw up one time and we come out to your property, like, you need to do what everybody else does. If you can't, you need to hire somebody. And it should not be that we've now encouraged ourselves to get in the business of being an intermediary. It should not be. Like, if we have to come and tell you and have somebody hired, like, there's no point. But it should be one and done that it happens to. And we can do everything we can, like it's been talked about. Daniel had it in the paper. I don't know.
I do understand the whole some don't have it, some do have it. I live in a new subdivision that has sidewalks. It's weird, unheard of, but I didn't do mine one year and I got turned in. And so Greg told me, you better go shovel your sidewalk, so. and I
But see,
didn't
what
shovel it
happens is
all
you get
season.
aggravated because then you drive around and see the other people.
Yeah, and that
And
ticked
then-
me off. I
right.
drive by places every day that don't have it, but I got turned in, so that's why we either need to do it for all.
Or ignore
it. Yeah.
I've got a sidewalk.
That's
and
what's hard.
I've got a sidewalk, and during the winter, there isn't a footprint in it.
You still got to do it. But
Yeah.
even going to the church, come on.
No, they walk the street.
Oh, that's
Steve, nobody
They
wants
walk-
to see you, that's why.
They walk the other side of the street. They walk the other side of the street. That's why they walk up there. I live right by him. I know where all those kids walk. They walk the other side of the street.
Okay.
So, but that being said, when I bought my place, that was one of the things, because I lived right up from
Yeah.
Steve there. One of the things when you buy it, you're buying your property, it has sidewalks. It is part of your property whether you like it or not, and you know you gotta do it. And like my end, where I was there, we didn't even have the green stretch, you know,
Oh,
when
no,
they came by.
it was up against the curb.
Yeah, hey, no matter how many times I come up and down, I was out there shoveling. You know, it was probably, sometimes I literally waited for the snowplow to go by for the first time before I'd even walk out there. You know, it's just.
And people get irritated, like we call and people
It is
think,
part of the responsibility of owning and maintaining your property. It's no different than cutting your grass or any of that. It is there, whether you think it's fair that the rest of the town didn't have to put in sidewalks or did or whatever, but your little plot of you is what you're responsible for. So, you know, it sucks, but it is what it is. And, you know, we couldn't always discuss about the sidewalk thing, but there is always gonna be areas that we are going to have sidewalks for. I mean, when you get into main drags, especially if this town grows. I mean, Addis, double our population once up to 4,000. I mean, walk downtown Dubuque or somewhere like that, or Cedar Rapids, and look at the busy neighborhoods without certain areas having those sidewalks. There's just no, you aren't gonna want your kids walking. I mean, we have the luxury now, but someday it may not be that.
And I guess, I don't wanna call it even a new versus old thing, because you go drive this, area by the pool. Look at all those streets across. I mean, by the medical center, there is. The next street, there isn't. One side of the street, there is. One side of the street, there isn't. Like, that's an older part of town too, so it's not even a new versus old.
And the top of the hill, like up north of my house, like I think everything north of Arthur, I don't
Is
think there's
without-
any hill. Up on the hill, I don't think there's sidewalks.
No.
So,
I don't know. You can't fix
Yeah.
who decided that at the time that stuff was
You
platted.
know, you got the sidewalk when you bought the house. It is just what you got to deal with. It is.
And we're gonna work with people, you know, and again, like, we can have a list and say, you know, if somebody called us right away and said, I don't know who to get it done, like, we'll have a list, and we'll say, here you go. And encourage neighbors to help neighbors, you know,
Like this last
People do
snowfall,
already.
How many calls did we get?
about sidewalks.
Yeah.
Maybe a dozen over the course of the winter. But I have
Like
a hard.
last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
my winter here. But I have a hard time being like, well, I'm sending them out to Andy's house to clean up because you called about his. But then that's exactly what happens. And they're like, well, what about that guy? And what about that guy? So when you can choose to direct staff to say complaint only. That's hard for me because I feel like what's good for, just like when we talked about vision triangles, you go pick on one place because somebody said something
Yeah,
and then
it takes one.
everybody else starts driving around because they're irritated with you.
Yeah, it takes one grumpy neighbor who calls you every single time.
And I always say, like, it doesn't say we enforce the sidewalk if someone complains. Like, that isn't what we say. And, you know, then we're looking at next up on the burning ordinance where it says, as long as it doesn't irritate your neighbor. I'm like, well, how does Fred decide to enforce that? Like, so try to make it as objective as to enforce.
Well, that, I think one of the greatest aspects of Cascade is that, I know when I first moved here, that was different from anywhere else, and even people I know that have moved here since, is one of the, you're walking outside your house and all of a sudden your neighbor's like, hey, how's it going? You wanna come over? You wanna get something to eat? You wanna have a drink? You know, I would go through. You live in Dubuque, I'll guarantee you that doesn't happen. You live in Cedar Rapids, that doesn't happen. It's just not that way. Where a lot of these things, when we put them in place, it stops the pivoting of neighbor against neighbor. So we don't have, you know, trying to eliminate that so much that, oh, Joe over there called about my burn barrel or my sidewalks again. You know, I hate that guy. He drives me nuts, you know. Kind of try to eliminate some of that. So we're taking it out of the hands of that too. So it helps with civility, I think, a little bit.
And I really believe that if we do it for a bit, like, people will learn and they'll hire people. So then it's not kind of work out, like, the goal is to work ourselves out of having to enforce anything. So,
I need a motion on ordinance 22-23.
I'll make a motion, ordinance 22
Motion by Hush,
Second.
second by Delaney.
Is that for the ordinance or is that for the suburb?
That's for the ordinance, and then we'll go to the
no, we
sub.
gotta do the,
The sub
Okay.
first?
yeah, you gotta do that
I'll
first.
correct mine.
Okay.
So we're doing it to do all the readings at once, Bill, are you okay with that?
I'll make a motion, 22-23, sub, number 1.
Motion by Hush,
Second.
second by Delaney. Roll call.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Now I need a motion to approve.
Kelchin?
Aye.
I didn't see him answer.
I need,
He's not gone yet.
Megan left, so then I'm like all screwed up on who's supposed to go first.
I need a motion then on 22-23 as the snow removal ordinance.
I'll make a motion first.
Motion by Hush,
I'll second.
second by Roush. Roll call.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant? Nope, sorry. Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Number 16, consideration of resolution number 99-23, approval to hire a seasonal employee for sidewalk snow compliance and solicit bids for sidewalk snow removal as a contractor.
Again, I think we gotta give it a shot to try and do our best to enforce it. If we can't find somebody, we'll figure it out, and I think we'll find someone to do the actual sidewalk removal. We'll just have to find I have some ideas of people that maybe we can ask, like someone retired that can drive around, and might be a couple hours of work per storm. Shouldn't be a lot of money.
At
And when
what
you
rate?
look at that administrative fee that you added, like that's the goal of, the few people that we end up having to charge should help pay for that cost.
At what rate are we gonna,
It has on here $15 an hour.
oh, sorry, missed that piece.
You're good. It's in the final line.
Yep, I see it.
I feel like we don't know if anybody's gonna take it for that. I don't know if you think that's too low or,
I think that's probably fine because they're gonna be driving a city vehicle or their vehicle.
no,
Do we reimburse?
we don't really have one. Yeah, I guess we could say
Mileage.
mileage too if you want. You wanna say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Or
Up it a little bit and say mileage is included.
I'd rather just up it and say mileage is
fine with
included,
me.
or
Yeah,
just.
just a
we
flat
knew-
rate.
I wish we knew about how long it'd take, and I'd just rather pay a flat rate for each event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That it's just,
The only problem is like the heavier the storm, the probably is more. You know what I mean?
because like if
There's
they
just
don't have
less
to get out of the
compliance
car,
if it's crazy amount of
that
snow.
might take an hour. They have to get out of the car a couple times, like,
take the good with the bad.
that's fair. They balance out.
What'd you say?
You take the good with the bad, it'll balance out. I'd rather just see something like, I hate giving out the first number, but something like, pay $75 for an event.
This morning.
And that includes the go and go back around.
Oh, you gotta go back around. You gotta do it twice.
The go back around
But
should
you
be
only have- you might
faster
only
though,
have to do
because,
5 houses or 10 houses.
but the thing is like it's the first round because you're actually writing up the ticket and hanging it. All you're doing on the second round is driving past to see if they complied. So I wouldn't say, or just make it like, I don't know, $100. And it's
That's-
kind of like 75 and 25 if you look
That was
at it
kinda
that
my
way.
initial number, but I didn't wanna say it right away. I'd
Yeah.
rather just, I just.
We
So
can
that
start- we can
expects you
start
to
with that.
drive and drive back for $100.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to change it to that?
And then my question is, are we on the hook for like workers' comp if they were to fall and all of
I
that?
mean, technically.
So will that monkey with our prices?
What do you mean?
Because like if they're walking up somebody's driveway that's obvious, or sidewalk that's obviously not plowed, like,
Yeah, we'll tell them that
are they at a higher
we'll
risk?
provide little snow things that go on your, yeah, pokey, whatever you call those things. Yeah,
And I don't know if you just wanna look at this for 1 year and revisit it next year.
I
that's
think
fine.
that makes sense.
Chad, you can deal with that next year.
I need a motion
A
on,
few minutes.
So we're amending it to $100 per storm,
Yep.
eliminating the 15 per hour.
yep, I need a motion on number 99-23 with the amendments.
I'll make a motion on resolution 9923 with the amendments.
Motion by Kelchin,
I'll second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Hush,
Aye.
Delaney, Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush.
Number 17, consideration of ordinance number 23-23, approval of changes to ordinance setting parking citation amounts, raising from $5 to $20.
So that's the 5 and the 20, and then we also have the 3 violations for snow emergency parking included in that.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2323.
Are we doing the skip it
And
first?
and that's on the,
Yeah, I'll do the skip it first.
for all 3 readings.
Yep, so I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2223. Right?
23,
23,
all 3 readings
All 3
tonight.
readings. Motion by Kelchin,
I'll second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Roush,
Aye.
Hush,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Now I need a motion on resolution, or ordinance number 23-23
So
as
moved.
an ordinance. Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush, Hush,
Aye.
Delaney.
Consideration of ordinance number 20-23, no parking on west side of Tyler Street Northeast from First Avenue to Second Avenue Northeast, and east side of Lincoln Street Northeast from First Avenue West to the alley by the jail. And this is the second of 3 readings.
And we do have the exact measurements now. So on the west side, it was 162 feet that Phil measured, and on the east side, it's 21 feet for Tyler Street, which I think when you measured on the map, it was like 170, so pretty close.
Yep.
And we did have 2 calls since the meeting. Both were supportive. One, Mike Noonan, obviously it affected his house. He was fine with that. He just had a couple questions. He got it, obviously, notice after when we had mailed it to him, although I think I emailed it as well. And then Nate Meyer, who owns obviously the most impacted building right now, he just asked if in the spring that we can paint some white lines to the north, up by the jail, so that it's clear to people that you can park in front of the jail. Right now, it just doesn't have the white lines that delineate the start and end of a spot. So I had the guys go look at it, and they were fine with that.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
Second.
second by Kelchin. Roll call.
Hush,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Number 19, consideration of ordinance 01-24, burning ordinance, recreational burning only, and this is the first of 3 readings.
So we discussed this last time, and then we drafted that disaster rubbish, flare stacks, landscape waste, and burn barrels are no longer allowed, and those, we didn't add anything, bless you. We didn't add anything, we just eliminated those line items, so it'll strictly now be at our burn pile, and then recreational burning, and if there was something, training through the fire department.
If there's no other concerns, I need a motion.
Something I thought of after the meeting last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. There are a couple businesses that burn pallets.
Sorry, I forgot about that too. So they both came to me. Thank you for reminding me that I forgot that. And we talked about that perhaps we say for industrial zoning only. For manufacturing, I guess we call it light and heavy. They're not commercially zoned where it is right now.
Okay.
So do you want to say that clean wood is legal if it's zoned industrial? So basically, it's just pallets.
I don't have a whole lot of problem with that. They have been, they're in controlled cages.
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
The one that I'm thinking of has cement on 3 sides, and then they put like a metal thing over it. I'm fine with it.
So we would have to add,
And it's not like they're doing it every week. It's
I was gonna
every
say,
other
what are we
month
talking
or-
here? How often is it happen?
What's that?
it's,
How often are we talking?
it's basically,
Probably every couple of weeks.
it's Iowa,
American Iowa.
American Iowa Manufacturing and Mark Weber,
Yep.
burn pallets. I think fairly regularly. Thank you for reminding me, I forgot that. So in so you could say, sub to it's permitted could be M1, M2.
Fred, you don't have much issue with that, do you? No. I mean, because you're typically, when American Iowa does it, it's during the day. Typically.
Yeah, and most of the time, that's the same time Mark's doing it too. A lot of times they're calling us, letting us know that they're gonna do a control burn there or something. Once in a while, we'll get a call from, somebody will be on Highway 151 and call in a fire and go out there and it's the pallets. So, and we already knew that there was a fire there, so.
Yep.
We just still have to go check it out. Yeah, I think they try to recycle as many pallets as they can.
That's right.
Then the ones that aren't really usable are
The
ones
outsized
that they
or
get, yeah,
oversized one.
oversized or broken or,
Mm.
you know, so.
So do you want to have a sub 4 that if zoned M1 or M2 that they can burn clean wood?
I think so.
We require them to notify Dubuque County.
What do you think, Fred, about, do they have to notify before they do it?
That's typically,
I don't think they officially do.
Get a call, so, yeah, if they'd even just call and say, hey, we're gonna burn pallets on this date, at least we know. So,
So we have to say they're county, though. We don't want them to call here since we're not 24/7.
Yeah. Have them call dispatch, and dispatch can let us know.
The county. You guys want to add that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep. So I need a motion on ordinance number 01-24 with the amendments.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 01-24.
Motion by Roush,
Second.
second by Kelchin, roll call.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Number 20, consideration of resolution number 91-23, authorizing and approving a loan agreement with Central Iowa Power Cooperative, providing for the issuance of a general obligation note and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same.
So in your emails, you should have gotten a new copy of it in section at the bottom of the first page. That should say 250 where it said 238. That was a mix-up based on what the original paperwork said would be our first payment, which they thought was this month. We won't start paying until June. The unfortunate part was that when we had all these discussions with everybody, I was under the impression it was a 0% interest loan. It's actually 2%, and then they have an administrative fee of 1%. So we're paying 3%. I had a conversation with our financial advisors, and we're gonna pay more than that on the market, so it's still a cheaper interest rate.
You're gonna be at 5, well,
Yeah.
probably 5. That's what the,
So I would still advise, and even if the county gives us, on that resolution for the county, they talked about perhaps being able to give us some sort of 0 to low % interest loan. They do not have more than 600,000, so we can't say like, oh, let's wait for this and see if we can get it all from the county. There's not enough there to get it all, so I would advise we proceed.
And that's just, again, where we gotta be careful with what's going on, because that was a little safety buffer we thought we might have, that a fair amount of that was gonna be at 0%. For 250,000, $250,000 was gonna be at 0%, and now it's not, so.
Right. I'm hoping
Makes
we
it
can
a
get the
little more
county.
uneasy.
I think we can get the county much lower, if anything. So, hoping that they'll do that.
I need a motion on resolution number 91-23.
I'll make a motion for resolution 91-23.
Motion by Roush,
Second.
second by Hush, roll call.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Number 21, consideration of ordinance number 16-23, change library board meeting time, and this is the final reading.
Same thing, we're just making it generic in the ordinance for the library board to meet when they wish, as long as they meet and follow the code.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 16-23.
Second.
Motion by Hush, second by Kelchin, roll call.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Number 22, consideration of ordinance number 17-23, change planning and zoning commission meeting time.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 1723.
Motion by Kelchin.
Subordinate.
Hold on, are we doing the,
Oh, we're
read
do-
all 3 first? You wanted to get
Yes.
that done for the
Yep.
first of the year?
Correct.
So we're doing that first.
Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
And now I need a motion on consideration of ordinance number 17-23.
So moved.
Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Hush, roll call.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Number 23, consideration of ordinance number 18-23, change Parks and Recreation Board meeting time
I'll make a motion to approve 1823 with
On-
the second
and third readings.
Yep.
I'll second.
Motion by Kelch, second by Roush, roll call.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
And now I need a motion on the ordinance 18-23. Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Number 24, consideration of ordinance number 19-23, change Utility Board of Trustees meeting time.
I'll make a motion to approve 1923, waiving second and third.
Motion by Kelchin,
I'll second.
second by Roush, roll call.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
And I need a motion on ordinance 1923. Motion by Kelchin,
Yep.
Second.
second by Hush, roll call.
Delaney.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Number 25, approval to authorize the mayor, clerk, and city administrator to pay any claims due after the December 11, 2023 council meeting and prior to the January 8th, 2024 claims approval.
I'll make a motion in that effect.
Motion by Kelchin,
Second.
second by Delaney, roll call.
Just a second, can we have, can the council be sent out in a timely
list?
manner, before the checks are written at least, or?
Just to give you a
Yeah.
listing.
Like, we'll have to see when Kathy's gonna be around, like when she'll pay them, and I can let you know, like, hey, we're gonna pay bills somewhere probably around when the council meeting would have been. And then we can just send a list out and then like cut the checks the next day if you want. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, at least give 1 or 2 days for
That you have a heads up.
That's
people to
fine.
review them,
I'll be
just in
fine.
case, responsibility.
The other option is you can have a 5-minute council meeting.
No,
if
I'm
you
not
want.
saying that, but I
Okay,
mean,
that's fine.
just to make sure that.
That you
I
can-
think that's our responsibility as a
Yeah.
council.
I'll text you all, because I know you don't all check your emails regularly. I'll text you when the email goes out.
Thank you.
I need a motion?
I think we have Kelch and Hush already.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I don't know who voted last time. Delaney?
Aye.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush.
All right.
Reports, Fred, anything?
I don't really just have anything. I just wanted to say, Andy, it's been a pleasure having you on the city council. I figured sometime in my career I was going to have somebody that I had done something with in school, and I've been fortunate because we've got Megan and Riley and Andy, and I've had Mike's kids in school, so it's been a pleasure having you and a pleasure
Thank you.
working with you. So
Thanks.
hopefully we see you back here in the future.
Yep. Sounds good, thanks.
Thank you. Library Design Committee, anything?
I feel like you all know what we've
I
done.
think we're, and do you have anything?
I honestly didn't even make a list, so. no.
Thank you.
We've been
And
doing
at this point, we'll have public comment. You have a limit of 3 minutes per person. Only items on this agenda.
I have a question. Could the AA group use City Hall?
I don't think that's wise because, like, we don't really, then we have to give them a code, or I have to be here on a
Yeah.
Friday night, and then you'd have to lift up that thing to get in the bathroom.
Okay.
And don't even get me started on the amount of security stuff that's.
And they could, like, right now, the only groups that get to use it right now are when we're here. So that, like, I'm locking up, or most of the time I'm even here when the library board, but, like, Melissa has a code. Then we'd have to give them a code, and
It'd just be nice to find a,
What about the library itself? We close before they eat.
do we know what time? Is the library till 6 or 6:30 on Fridays?
Till 5 or 6 on Friday.
that'd be a nice gesture to,
Yeah.
Find a
And
place.
if they had to move
Yeah.
further back or something, but there is, we don't use it when we're not there. And I think a lot of things could be done in the building that we have or other times for the public.
Why don't you mention that to the board tomorrow, that you want to bring it up, and then put it on your agenda for the next time? I would think that we should have the board approve that. Everybody okay with that?
Works for me.
We got bathroom, accessible, their coffee,
On the same floor, they could come in.
There's a
that
coffee
door.
pot.
there's a coffee pot.
Yeah, because they have Tuesday coffee.
We have 2 bathrooms.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Good. Oh, my name's Mary Thomas.
If there's nothing else for the betterment of the community, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Kelchin,
A second.
second by Roush, all in favor?
Aye.
Can we have a little hand for Andy, since he's,
Round of applause.
I think it's a record
Will be
number of,
missed.
motion.
He had to get his name in there quite a few times tonight. Can you turn
even
on the
did a
box,
whole
Cass?
I think it was
Go.
I think it was a record for him.
Good job,
I
Andy.
should've done my meeting
Thank
if
you.
I didn't speak.
I can't believe your wife walked past when you were looking. I saw your face. I was
No,
like,
he
oh,
looked at me
snap.
like, what the
Why
hell
are
is
they
she
there?
doing here?
All good, all good.
I got